Good morning, guys. I hope you are all doing well. I know yesterday's lesson was a little confusing. If you had questions, I hope you emailed me. As long as you guys tried, that's all that matters because we're just going to move on. That the lesson from yesterday is very difficult to teach over a computer. So unfortunately, I don't want to spend any more time on it just because I would like to be in person to that. So we're going to move on. All right, so comparing dot plots. Dot plots. A dot plot displays data graphically using a small dot for each data piece. The data points are ordered from least to greatest. All right, so a dot plot can take on three different shapes. The first one called symmetric. So the dot plot can look symmetric. That means this is like our middle piece right here. It's equal on both sides. So it has a nice symmetry. And then we have skewed right. So as you can see, it's going down to the right. You can think of this as our little tail at the bottom. So if the tail's at the right, then our dot plot is skewed to the right. And for skewed left, you see it's going the opposite way. It is falling down to the left. And the little tail bottom is on the left side of the dot plot. So those are three different shapes that your dot plot can look like. So spread. The variability or spread in the data points describes how far apart the data is from one another. This can also be represented by the range. So remember, when finding the range, that is when you have to take your greatest piece of data and subtract it by your smallest piece of data. All right, and center. The median and the mean both represent the center of the data. When the data is skewed, so either skewed to the right or to the left, then the median is the best representation of the data. When the data is symmetric, then the mean is the best representation of the data. All right, so we're going to go ahead and show you an example. All right, two different classes were asked how many minutes each student traveled to school in the mornings. All right, so here's our information. We have room 434, and then we have 425. So this number line down here is for 434. So let's just put pink. And then I'll use green for 425. So we have to plot this data. So we're going to do room 434 first. All right, so my first one is a 5. So I'm going to put a dot over the 5. And I'm just going to put it over there too so I know that I use it. All right, next one is 7. So I'm going to do the same thing, but over the 7. I'm going to try and get them in line as much as I can. It's a little off. There you go. All right, and then I have 2 8s. So I'm going to put 1 8 right there and then one more 8 on top since there are 2. All right, now I have 2 4s, so I'm going to do the same. 1, 2. All right, I got another 7, so I'm going to add on top of the 7. I have another 5, add that on top. I have one more 4, and then one more 7. So that's what our dot plot looks like for room 434. So that's all that you have to do with that data. All right, now moving on to room 425. So first one that we have is 4, so I'm going to put a dot on over the 4, cross it off. See, I have 2 5s, so 1, 2. I have 1 6, so I'm going to put that dot right over the 6. I have 1 3. I have another 6, I'm going to add it right on top. I have a 4, add it up on top of this 4. I have a 7. Then I'm left with 2 5s. All right, so describe the shape of the two graphs above. So we have this shape right here. If we were going to cut it in half, it's not exactly the same on each side. It is, but it's not symmetric, and it's not really skewed to the left or to the right. So I'd put no distinct shape for room 434. However, if you look at room 425, this is our middle point. This is symmetric. It is equal on both sides. So I just put room 425 is symmetric. All right, now it wants us to determine the median in each set. All right, so I'm going to start with room 434. So these numbers are in order right now. So I'm going to find the median out of this room, but I have to list my numbers out. So since there's 3 dots above the 4, that means there's going to be 3 4s. So 1, 2, 3. All right, now I have 2 5s. So there's going to be 1, 2. All right, there's 3 dots above our 7, so there's going to be 3 7s. And then 2 dots above our 8, so 2 8s. All right, so now I have to find this middle number. All right, so to do that, I am going to work from the outside in. So cross off the 2 ends. And just work your way in. Bing, bing. And we're left with 2 numbers. So we're left with 5 and 7. So to get that median, we have to add those 2 numbers together. So 5 plus 7, which equals 12, and then divide by 2. So your answer is 6. So 6 is our median. Or you can think about it, well, what number is right in the middle of 5 and 7? It's going to be 6. So we found our median for the first room. Now we're going to find it for the room 425. So again, I'm just going to pick the numbers off the graph. So 3 has 1 dot, so there's going to be 1 3. 4 has 2 dots, so 2 4s. 5 has 4 dots, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 6 has 2, so 2 6s, and then just 1 7. So same thing like what we did above. We have to find the median, so we're going to work from the outside in. So cross off the 2 ends and the next 2. All right, so again, we have 2 numbers in the middle. So to do that, you have to add them together. You have to find the mean of those 2 numbers. Well, 5 plus 5 is 10. 10 divided by 2 gives you 5. So 6 is our median for our first room, and 5 is our median for our second room. So now it's asking, what is the difference between the center of room 425 and the center of room 434? So it's asking for the difference. Well, that's a subtraction problem. We want to know the difference between the room 425 and 434. So all we're going to do is take our 2 numbers over here, 6 minus 5, and that's going to give you 1. So that is the difference between each room, between the center. All right, so on your exit ticket, it's going to ask you, and for tomorrow, it's going to ask you to find the mean as well. So the same thing, if you want to list them out like I did over here. If you want to list them out just so it's easier for you to see, and then you would add up all of those numbers and divide them by how many there are. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So whatever this, once you add all those numbers up, whatever that equals, you divide by 10. That's that mean. And then it's going to ask you to find the range. So to do that, well, you just take your largest number, subtract it by the smallest. So the range of this room would be 8 minus 4, which is 4. And the range for this room would be 7 minus 3, which is 4. So they have the same ranges. So that's how you would do that. All right. Good luck, guys.